Hello, friends. I'm DJ Lance Rock, and I have to say, Rock and Roll Grad School is awesome!
One, two, three, four. This is Rock and Roll Grad School with your hosts, Heidi Hedquist and Luke Poling.
Hello, kiddies. We are going to have a real good time together. We are talking with Barry from Carbon Leaf, a really fun band with a really fun new record coming out. Yeah, it was great to talk with them.
I am still riding this high of the Red Cross show.
I know. I'm like, don't bring me down, dude.
That's
what I'm feeling. I'm like, I rallied to go to that thing. I was exhausted.
I will listen to other music, but I always end back up with them just because, like,
I know, because
just
they're the
feels
best. I know, they make me so happy.
And the amount of fun they seem to be having.
I know, they are more us even than the Mail Brothers. Like, the Mail Brothers would be our shtick, but they're so us.
And just
we're completely the McDonald brothers.
And the unabashed joy,
yes,
in their own particular way that they're playing, and
they just entertain each other.
Yeah,
they just have a really good time, and they just like tell stories about their lives.
And like Annie's Gone, anybody, I would have been like, this is the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah,
but
it's great.
There's something where they pull it off where you're just like, they're having fun with this. Like, Steven knows his bass face is ridiculous.
Oh, he loves it.
And putting the bass in the crotch in the face of everyone in the front row. Like,
oh yeah.
But you still have to do it. It's still fun.
Oh, he loved it. He loved it so much. Well, and the thing was, like, I mean, I can unequivocally say for reals, like, he really was playing the whole show to me and Dave, because we were like right in the front, and I was truly the prettiest girl
in the room.
I was, and I can truly say it without being a jerk. I mean, I did show you the crowd what all looked like, the people in there, and I was the most animated girl in the room. And Dave was like just so unabashedly excited, and like every bit as excited as he was. But he was there in his khaki shorts. His, like, the kids had a Booba t-shirt made for him, because they call him Booba Dave, and it's his favorite t-shirt. It's so comfortable, and he wears it all the time. And it was so funny because we like raced home from being up north, and we were like so tired, and I really didn't think he was going to rally and go. And he's like, do you really want to go to Red Cross? And I was like, I do, but I'm not going to go to Southwest Detroit. I would go to Southwest Detroit by myself any day of the week, but I'm tired. I probably shouldn't go by myself.
Right.
And he's like, let's go. He's like, if you want to go, let's go. I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah. He goes, but I'm not showering. I'm just going to throw a different hat on, and a t-shirt. So I went over to his house, and the story's like relevant because he goes, I get there, and he goes, I think I'm going to wear my Donny Osmond t-shirt. I'm like, do it. He goes, it's so crazy. I'm just going to wear it. I'm like, okay. But then he goes, oh, it's not fitting right. He goes, I'm wearing my Booba t-shirt. It's my favorite t-shirt. He goes, it's so ridiculous. He goes, I feel like they're just going to think it's hilarious and be like, what the hell is that? Or they'll know who Booba is. So he wears this Booba t-shirt, which is just bright blue, and it's got Booba on it, the giant troll. And through the whole thing, you can see Steven just staring at him the whole time. Like, and then he's doing air guitar, and he's leaping up, and he's just acting like he does when he's on stage in a Tiger's cap, a Booba t-shirt, and khaki shorts. I'm in my, like, ridiculous outfit that I have on, just rocking out. So I can say that he was rocking out with us at his show the whole night, because so he was constantly like coming over to try not to get to us, but more to like show, like, embarrass the people, like do that to the people next to us for our
Right.
enjoyment, right? So it was so fun. They were
I
so fun.
I feel
And
like
then
I
they
just had
opened
the
up,
dumb smile on my face
oh yeah, the whole
the
time,
entire.
the entire time. And then they come out to the Wonder Woman theme,
Mm-hmm.
which was like, they obviously knew I was going to be here. They did this for me. And Dave, like, it took Dave a good minute to know it was a Wonder Woman theme, which kind of upset me. I'm like, obviously, they probably didn't do it for me. They probably did it for our vice president, but I'm going to say they did it for me because
Mm-hmm.
it's me.
Right.
And then they get to, oh my God, the horse
Beyond
song.
Wild Horses.
No,
No, Crazy
not Wild
Horses.
Crazy Horses. And Dave goes, wait, did Lou tell you they were going to play this? I'm like, no,
I
he
did
didn't tell
not.
me anything. He told me
Yes.
nothing. He goes, he goes, I knew nothing. He goes, what if I'd worn my Danny Osmond t-shirt? I go, I know. He goes, I had no idea. He's like, I'm so glad I didn't wear it because they would have thought I'd been like listening to the set list, and I'd been like, he was so like glad he didn't wear it because he would have thought I was researching them and it wouldn't have been cool. It would have
Researching the
gone from being
blues. Yeah.
right. He's like, I didn't do it. I'm like, I'm so glad you didn't do it. It was so funny.
I didn't want to tell you what the
I'm
encores
like, he
were.
told me nothing. I'm like, I
Like, it
knew
worked out very
nothing.
nicely that we weren't able to speak between then and now,
Yes, it
because
did.
it would have killed
Um,
me to not say
I
anything.
know, but it was so fun.
I don't know. What were we doing, Heidi? The normal, just,
Right.
meandering.
Yes.
Um,
Waiting on the interview to show up.
No, it was good because I
unfortunately-
was running late too, so it's good.
and
Okay.
and unfortunately, we find ourselves way too entertaining. So,
Right.
Okay, so
so-
you didn't miss me.
don't
No,
take it
that's not
personally,
true.
but no.
No, we did
Oh, we
miss
did.
you
Yes.
because we were talking about how much we love lead singers named Barry. So,
Oh,
and people named Barry.
how many berries do you know?
Well,
Actually, one of my favorite people on the planet's name is Barry. So
Nice.
I
well,
love
we've
berries
got,
in general.
I mean, obviously Gibb. And then I think Manilow, I guess White would count too.
Barry
There's a few.
Williams.
Yes.
Barry
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Williams, yes.
So
Yeah.
there's enough of
See,
you.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
good berries.
There's some
Berries
good
are all
celebrity-
good. I don't know any bad berries.
Good celebrity berries, but not tons that you meet in the wild.
This is
No,
true.
one of my dearest friends is a berry I know in the wild. He truly is one of my favorite people. So
Good.
Well,
Represent well.
yes.
Yes. So the record's a lot of fun. I really enjoy the single, and there's some tracks deeper in the record that I just feel like if I had the ability to make mixtapes nowadays, there's a few songs on there that I would be like, this goes on the mixtape.
Well, what are they? Do you remember?
Pretending is the one that like I'm
Oh,
obsessed
yeah.
with. That
Really?
like just it's just hooked in my head. Like there's something about it that I just like. Again, I'm like, this would be the perfect. Just put it on a mixtape, and someone's
Well,
like, "What's this?"
I appreciate that because I don't have any perspective because we just finished it and no one's really heard it, and so I'm talking to like just a handful of people for the first time who have listened to it, and it's nice to hear that on some of those songs.
So you still kind of get anxious and worried about this stuff, this far into the career, this far into making records.
Get anxious about what particularly?
Just
like
what
how it's
everyone
gonna
thinks
be?
about it. Yeah.
I I don't, that actually doesn't keep me up at night. What I want is for me to really love it and feel like we got it right, or at least close enough to the point where I want to lean into this song every night. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you want all your stuff to kind of like resonate with the fans, but some things that you think don't, and then some that you wouldn't consider might. Like it's funny you mentioned Pretending, because it's like there was a certain tone on that I wanted to get right. And I feel like we got maybe 85% there, but, and I'm like, I just hope people, want to hear some of these songs. And so you're always surprised. And,
Hmm.
but I have to love them and want to do them. And I want the band to feel that way. And, you don't always get that. So it can be tough. So, if we're loving it, then the fans will just have to deal with it.
Do you love it?
I love it. I love this record. It's been a long time coming. I don't know if you read the little beat sheet, but when we launched this, it was at the start of the pandemic. We announced that we were going to do this project, but didn't realize that the pandemic was going to turn into what it was and how much attention it was going to force us away from touring and writing and recording, and just pivoting towards like a model that was going to be survivable for 2 years. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So it was kind of a long time finally getting to the writing stage. I spent like 4 sessions of like 2 or 3 months each, just isolated in like remote house on a lake and an old converted schoolhouse and just in a barn loft and just all these random places, like
That
trying
sounds
to.
awful. That sounds terrible.
Yeah,
Well,
it sounds
no,
an
it is.
amazing place to do it.
They were amazing places, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to go someplace that was wintry and sequestered and vibey. But writing is for that capacity for that long a time by yourself is a pretty isolating, lonely kind of thing too.
Of
So
course. Yeah.
so there's a balance there, but some of these. So I started ruminating on time a lot, just being by yourself a lot and all these ideas that you want to get to. And it's like, well, how much can you get to in your life, and then like thinking about your life choices and how you could go into a billion different directions, and in all around you, and yet there's this one timeline of your life. And so it's like you get caught in this like I want to live all these lives on this
Hmm.
timeline, but it's kind of impossible. You have to like pick and choose the people in your life, and you pick and choose the projects that you want to pick. And so that's each song on this album is kind of a rumination on time and your kind of place on the timeline, um and a
Is
lot of
it?
the. Mhm.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was just going to put a bow on that, and so a lot of the 12 songs on this run the gamut from being like brand new songs that we created, within the last few years, and then old demos that I sifted through and kind of a boneyard of things that I'd half started. I had the melody, or I had the theme, or I had a line or two. I knew where I wanted to go, but I couldn't find my way in and out of it. And I pulled all those together. I got like 50 of these unfinished songs, and then whittled them down to like the 7 or 8 that rounded out the album with some of the older material, and that felt like they all sounded like they belonged together, and got the stories done. So it's a meaningful project to me. In that regard, it's very, very kind of personal journey. And so, yeah, to answer your question, a long-winded way, I really love it, and it's close to me,
It's interesting. Does this kind of, having ruminated and spent so much time thinking about this idea of time, and as you were talking about the idea of, decisions and where your life goes, I can't remember where I saw, but it's basically some version of, it's not necessarily like the road not taken. It's more of like you're just closing doors, and the number of doors that are opened at the end of it, that's what you've done. And it is that kind of sliding doors of like, could go this way or the other.
Yeah.
Did recording this record make you all the more sort of not melancholy, but like, that you're coming after the pandemic, that you have this opportunity again? And I'm assuming there was a time where you're like, I don't know if we're going to be able to play live again. What's going to happen? Was it sort of like do you appreciate it differently than previous records?
Well, that's an interesting question. I'm just kind of thinking back to, you know, our previous records. You know, the difference now is that when we were younger, it's like you'd put 12-hour days in and you could work on a record, you know, for months as a group, and you had no obligations, you had nowhere else to be. You know, now, you know, we're 33 years into our career, and you know, the guys have, you know, families, and you know, all of the responsibilities that come with that, that reprioritize your time and a band's time, and so where we are on our timeline is a lot different than where we were 10 years or 15, 20 years ago, you know, and so you do have to work differently, and you do have to, you know, take breaks, and you know, somebody's got to go pick up their kid from the soccer field, or take her to ice skating, or you know, oh well, you got to deal with a broken leg, and we're going to take, you know, this time off. And so you are aware of the precious commodity of time when you're creating, and so it makes you more deliberate, and in some respects that's good. In some respects you're like, man, I wish we could just, you know, Terry and I are recording and mixing all of our stuff up in our studio, and you know, he was lamenting at one point during a very tense long slog, he was just like, man, I just wish we could just play, you know, music more, instead of like having to go in here and record, but then we got to stop and we got to make these promo videos for the promoters for the tour, and then we got to, you know, gotta go, and we're going to sit down and we're going to figure out some artwork ad mats, and you know, it's just like, I just, you know, I mean, we're a working band, we don't have endless resources, you know, so we do a lot ourselves. So, you know,
that business of being a band,
the business of being a band, instead of just playing music and recording music and getting better at what you're, you know, at music. So so yeah, there's a little bit of you know, a tension there, you know.
And to have survived as long as you guys have, and I don't mean that as like every band's going to have their ups and downs, and good days and bad days, but like after that many years there is sort of a, well, we have to keep going because this is what we do. Is that sort of like the, you know, you know, what are we going to do? Break up? That's dumb.
But
like,
what else are we going to do, right?
Right? Yeah. I don't know any other bassists. You're here. Let's go.
I mean, am I going to just go to med school now?
Yeah.
You know, it's, you know, bands are kind of like unicorns, you know, it's just like, wow, it's like, it's a miracle that, you know, this thing can even exist, you know, beyond, you know, your youth, you know what I mean? I mean, these rock and roll bands, you know, they're kind of built to just celebrate, in a lot of ways, just celebrate being, you know, young, and it does take so much energy to keep that spirit, and we work hard at it. You know, we're very much a band. It's like we want to be branded as a 5-piece band, not just like a guy writing songs and then like hiring guns.
Right.
You know, we want the personality to feel like it's, you know, it's baked into Carbon Leaf, through everybody. So that takes a lot of energy, it takes a lot of money, and it takes really creative scheduling to try to like thread the needle. So to work and maintain that, you know, is important, and we could easily find some off ramps if we really started looking, and you know, that day will come. I mean, it's going to come at some point. But you know, we've done it together a long time, we're kind of brothers, you know, we can really like, I mean, Terry and I can really go at each other, you know, but then it's you know, it's over, and then you're just back to, you know, doing the thing. So, you know, as long as something is just not dysfunctional and broken, and we're still being creative, and we still have fans that are, you know, finding value in what we do, you know, no one's in a hurry to end that. But there's sacrifices again with the families and the kids, and you're gone for 100 days, and you know, you always have to weigh that. But it is a miracle that, you know, you can get 5 guys together and still align and grab 2 crew guys and do that. So I think it's special enough to not be too light in that decision, you know, of whether you keep going or stop.
And what's that?
Yeah, I mean, even in a 2-person. Oh, no, go ahead.
No, you go. I've been talking.
No, I was just gonna say, even in a, I mean, not to be like, I don't know, even in a 2-person, a 2-person marriage or a 2-person relationship, it's a miracle to have 2 people be able to maintain and grow in the same direction for that long, let alone 5 people grow in the same direction and stay together for that long. It is a gift to go as long as it, plus all those outside factors, so families on top of it, so for the rest of
I should have just
Yeah.
cut her off.
Yeah, no, but I hear, you know, I hear what you're saying. It's like, yeah, it's like two people is hard enough. And so, yeah, so kind of to that point, it's like, all right, well, you know, everything's feeling pretty good with everybody. We still laugh, we still create, you know, we still have ideas, and people still show up. So, you know, that there's something worth, you know, preserving, you know.
When you're writing songs and presenting them to the band, how far along do you get the material? Like, do the other guys bring in their own thing, or is it much more of a, like you said, you know, this guy and some hired guns? But is it sort of like in your mind, you're going, I don't know what this part is, but this guy's going to kill it once I give him the structure of what we're working with?
Yeah. Yeah, you know, everybody's got their specialty, and when, you know, we the material kind of presents itself in several ways. It could just be, you know, one of the guys floating me a guitar part, or it could be a couple of the guys that got together and, you know, cut a instrumental and sent it to me, or with the band could be together at sound check, or, you know, at the studio, and we come up with something. Or I could be sitting there with the guitar and kind of banging out something, you know, rudimentary on the guitar, and get my vocal and get the song done, and then present it to the band. And then, like you said, you know, they put their expertise and spin on it. And then it, you know, and then it becomes something, it could either become something completely new, or, you know, or we you know, have a specific idea, and we kind of follow that line. So we talk all that through. And so each song's different like that. But you know, some songs I've written with the lyrics first, but a lot of times I just like to have the music to get me the footholds I need. And then I can go away and write it, you know.
I really like the single Backmask 1983. And the artwork, just for the record in general, on the shirts and stuff like that. God, I remember, like, it's so looks like, I'm trying to think, what is it, Panasonic or JV? Like, I remember seeing it on the VHS tapes.
Yeah. So, you know, it was intentionally kind of, it's supposed to kind of evoke a certain time. And and that was kind of the directive. That's what I wanted. I wanted something that, you know, felt a little familiar, you know, but not like, oh, this is a ripoff. So, you know, I feel like we kind of got, it's kind of like, you know, there's some homage in some different ways that we, you know, kind of got that. And that's what I wanted. I wanted something that felt a little bit familiar. And hopefully people will feel that with the music as well. You know, there's some production flourishes and some lyrical references, without like going into like nostalgia bait, you know. nostalgia to me is interesting, and in that it can go one of two ways. You can just be like, talking to someone that's just always waxing nostalgic because they're stuck in this spot. And some of that's addressed in some of this music. But nostalgia also for me is like an important memory trigger. It's like, to think of things from the past that struck you a certain way has value. You're not just mindlessly lost in the past. You're like saying, what was it about this moment in time, or this song, or this thing, or this experience that made me excited to be alive? And that's what I wanted, Backmask to 1983 to kind of feel like, was the whole notion of like, I want to believe. And there's no better time in your life that you're primed for that, is kind of in between your youth and entering into adolescence, and that kind of threshold of crossing into your teenage years, where you've grown up with these beliefs, these stories that you've been told, and these things that have shaped you as a kid, right? And then all of a sudden you have all this new incoming information that is unrecognizable from your past, right? And yet you're drawn to it, you know what I mean? And so finding that sweet spot, where at any point in your life, where you could feel like that, because as we age, you maybe get a little less and less of that. We get into our routines, our responsibilities, and you stop having that new, that feeling of newness, I guess.
Well, I remember in college getting really down. I mean, for a variety of reasons, but this particular reason that got me down was reading this quote that somebody said in some, spin or something, that after the age of 25, you stop believing a song could change your life. And that made me so depressed, because I was like, I don't want to lose that. I want to be able to, like, that thing where you put a tape in someone's hand or a mixtape and go, you got to listen to this. And I feel like that Backmask has some of that. And it really, again, like you said, just evokes something. Where in this songwriting process of this whole, looking back kind of journey with this record, where did that come in the process? Because this song seems like a perfect entry point, but maybe it wasn't when you're crafting it.
So this was, I mentioned that some of the music was old and some of it was new. This one had been around for about 12 or 15 years. I need to check my Word doc. But the demo was about that old, and I had been drawn to it and kind of knew, to me, it was a cross between AC/DC and the Cars. That's what it sounded like to me, and which automatically took me to that kind of period, and that 1978 to 83 kind of period where it was this analog period of growing up. You had to ride your bike to go communicate, or call someone on a home phone, and if you wanted to see a movie, you had to go to the theater, and then if you wanted to see it again, you had to go back to the theater, and you wanted to learn something, you would have to go to the library, and you had the magazine rack at the 7-Eleven for there wasn't a whole, they had the radio, you had three stations, you had 3 TV stations, so you had limited resources, and with those limited resources kind of like becomes imagination, and so all of those things were kind of spinning in my head when I kind of heard the demo, and I wanted to go to that spot, again, where you're kind of crossing this threshold of the familiar and the new, and so I had picked this song up a few times over the years and kind of put it down, and finally when I knew that the theme for this album was going to be time is the playground, and each song was going to be, thinking about time, that became a cornerstone. And so I reached for that, and I was like, I got to finish this. And I got to turn it more into than just a title. So, yeah.
And referencing 1983, putting the word backmask in there makes me think of all of the satanic panic of the early 80s, and AC/DC certainly being one of them. Did you hide any messages to Satan in that song?
In Backmask?
Yes. Or do we
Maybe.
need to wait for the Dark Lord himself to show up and be like, hey, want my free t-shirt?
I can't confirm or deny that there's a Backmask, but I would encourage people to listen to it very carefully.
And probably destroy their record player by playing it backwards.
I mean, however they do it these days, there actually will be a vinyl record, so it is going to be possible.
Time is the Playground by Carbon Leaf is available wherever you get your records September 27th. For more information, you can find them online at facebook.com/carbonleaf. And for tour dates and so much more, check out their website, carbonleaf.com.
Rock and Roll Grad School is produced by the Professional Production Company. Please be sure to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, because your impassioned review is just as honest as us standing backstage waiting to come back on for the encore. For more information, you can check out our website, rockandrollgradschool.com. And like everyone else, we're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Today's show was recorded and produced by Heidi Hegquist and myself from our world headquarters located on the second floor of the professional office building, centrally located downtown. Our reluctant executive producers are John Sauvé and Sandy Stone. Our willing executive producers are Rachel Allen and Randy Jeanette. Our intern is Zach Jackson. This one's for Philippe. Thanks for joining us. Good night, drive safe. May all your favorite bands stay together.